Thanks, John.
You're
I
very
appreciate you
welcome.
coming. This is my inaugural show. Welcome, everybody. The donut interviews, which donuts.
Do we reveal?
We will reveal them, but I was
Okay.
telling a friend about this the other day, and he goes, "Oh, you're going to interview John Doe. You should call it the Donuts interview," which I was upset that I didn't think of prior. So I'll have to put that in the bottom, DOE.
Yeah.
No, you don't like it? So
It's
forget
fine.
that.
It's fine.
Get that out.
Someone suggested at one point that I have a T-shirt that said, "I'm a dough nut."
Because you like donuts?
No, because they're like nutty for John Doe.
Okay.
But to which I said, I'll think about that. And immediately thought after that, there's no fucking way.
But I did, when I did, I texted you, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and I asked if you would be interested in doing
Yes.
an interview. And then
Right.
I asked if you like donuts, and I think you replied yes and yes. And
Yeah.
I felt they were enthusiastic.
Sure.
So go ahead.
If you don't like donuts, there's something wrong
Right.
with you.
And I believe we have an affinity for the same donut,
Oh, good.
which is cake.
Yes, cake donuts
Right.
are good.
I don't.
Here we are. Oops.
Yeah, so I got these from Shipley here in Austin, down on Brody Lane, and I love that place. So I got a bunch of cake donuts to choose from, and then there's another bunch underneath.
Mm-hmm.
So we have those to eat, and then I have tons of questions for
Okay.
you. But I know you're pressed for time, and you're very
No.
generous with your time. Okay, you're not pressed for time, so this might be like an epic going
No.
with the wind type thing.
It might be
Here,
45
what do you
minutes.
got there?
I have the chocolate.
Chocolate.
croissant.
All right, and I'll. There you go. I just have a plain cake. That's what I kick it. Old
I
school.
like those too.
Yeah, they're delicious. There you go.
Mhm.
If you need a jacket. So we've talked before. You're multi-talented.
Mm.
Musician,
Mhm.
actor, writer.
Yep.
Several books, which I forgot that they're over there in my bag.
We don't need to show them.
Okay, but they're
There's
there.
just two.
There's two, but still, you spearheaded everything behind it.
Mhm.
Wrote some chapters. They're
Mhm.
entertaining.
Mhm.
You have all that going for you. Did I talk about acting already?
You mentioned it.
I do. And then, I have to ask you, and I say, well, hey, when I say that, but you know what I'm going to bring up? I think, maybe, if you know me. You don't really know me.
Mhm.
But
I know.
yeah. Roadhouse.
Mhm.
If you could tell the story, this might be a bad idea, chewing and talking a little bit.
Mm.
One of my favorite movies. Watch it every time it's on. Love your performance. Love your death scene.
Mhm.
Although you only get a knife to the gut, so I don't know if you really die. But let's assume you do die. Spoiler.
Yeah, I died.
Yeah. What do you, behind the scenes, what do you remember about the making of that movie?
Well, we were scheduled to work for, I think, 8 weeks
That
or maybe
fly.
10. And
Sorry.
it's okay.
I smash a fly on you.
I thought of it as a gesture of tenderness, Chris.
I try.
And we worked for like 12 or 14. So every week you're making a big ass paycheck because it was a high budget movie. It was Joel Silver, for God's sakes, and he had done Die Hard and Terminator, or no, the other one where the in the jungle, Predator.
Oh, yeah.
And
Big action flicks.
Yes.
Yeah.
But this was his first flop. The Roadhouse, when it came out, was a flop. Nobody wanted to see Patrick Swayze rip somebody's throat out.
Oh, because they were used to the Dirty Dancing, Patrick Swayze.
They wanted-
yeah, romantic.
They wanted the guy in Ghost.
The movie, every time it's on, my wife too, and I know other women who love it as well.
They're just
that fly again.
they're just pretending.
I don't know.
Those women are pretending. I guarantee you. They're being nice. They're being generous, and they're pretending.
What was you told me before, you had a line in it that the wrestler Terry Funk, who was one of your co-goons, were you guys goons kind of?
We were henchmen.
Henchmen.
Yeah.
That's better than goons.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we did have a first name, last name.
Did you get them?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
Close. We did have first name, last names. Mine was Pat McGurn.
Yes.
And so that's that. See, if you're just like bartender or waitress or a plumber or man
Gotcha.
with hat,
Right.
then that's bad. Then if you're just like Bob, that's a little bit better, but still pretty bad. But if you get two names,
Yeah.
then you're in a better
Yeah,
shape.
and Bob
But-
is just a 3-letter.
But yeah, Terry. There was a scene where I was brandishing a knife at Patrick Swayze, and the script called for me to say, "Come on, chicken shit, what's your problem?" or something like that. And I said, and then chicken shit just seemed very played, and so I said, "Come on, Terry, give me another epithet." And he said, "How about chicken dick?" And that was genius. And many people have remarked about that. But I mean, when I eventually do a memoir, I have a chapter already written about Roadhouse.
I look forward to that. I look forward to the book and that chapter.
Yeah, it was insane. I mean, they built an entire auto showroom in the middle of nowhere, and then drove a monster truck over the cars.
I think I've seen some home video of that on YouTube. Someone who lived in the town was recording that day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they had 7 cameras. And some of them manned, some of them just they would turn the camera on. And it was all film at that point.
Right.
It wasn't video.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was insane. The level of testosterone was ridiculous. But Charlie Picerni was the stunt coordinator. He was the head stunt person, and he did all of Smokey and the Bandit and went on to direct things. And I mean, he was a total pro. And he said, "Don't do a stunt because A, you're taking money out of the stunt man's pocket, and B, if you get hurt, then we're fucked.
Right.
So don't do it." And I mean, Tom Cruise, bless his heart, let him, knock yourself out, Tom.
It's not for you. Stunt work.
No.
Yeah. If you had your choice between acting, writing, performing as a musician, are they like, can you make a choice between them, or does it even matter as long as you're creating and sort of performing? Or is there something that you find more appealing that touches you?
Yeah. I love that look when the bar door opens in the middle of the day.
It's when all the drunks who are drinking during the day, and it's a nice dark bar, and then the lights come on.
What the fuck?
All the vampires don't like the lights. So,
no, I don't care. I mean, I don't do. I try not to do things that leave a bad taste in my mouth. I try not to do musical performance or appearance. Even if someone's a friend and says, "Hey, come and do my thing," if I'm not into it, then I'll say, "You know what? I don't get it." And I've said that for a few movies, a few roles that I've been kind of like audition for this, now auditioning is all on tape. It's all on everybody's phone, so you don't have to go anyplace. Long time. I mean, when I was doing it more frequently, I would have to drive 75 miles from where I lived into LA, spend 20 minutes waiting, 3 minutes doing or 5 minutes doing the audition, and then I'd have to drive home. And after a while, I just said, it's not worth it. And nowadays, if I don't get it, then I just say, "You know what? I don't like it. I don't get it. I don't think I'd be good at it. So find somebody who would be." But I mean, playing music and singing, I mean, that's my first means of expression, and it's closer to home. So, and connect. I do like performing. There's some songwriters that don't, and I'm really fortunate that I do.
Do you get nervous anymore?
Sure.
Do you? Do you get nervous before a show?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Depends on what it is.
When you're with X, your band, maybe the nerves aren't as bad because you're on stage with your friends, your bandmates, versus maybe in a movie when you're solo kind of doing it, maybe there's more nerves kind of building up.
It's hard to say. It's hard to say. I mean, if like X has a new record coming out in August, so hopefully we'll be able to get on a TV show and or some late night thing. But it's kind of doubtful because we're not 25 and hot. So
Well, you're not bad then, okay?
I'm fine.
Yeah,
I'm
good.
glad I'm not 25 and hot. I'm very comfortable where I am right now. Maybe for the first time ever, but absolutely. When when you don't have an actual audience to have rapport with, right? It's very artificial.
Yeah.
But what the hell? You do what you can to try to communicate to people. It's a long time ago. I stopped thinking about what's in it for me, and it was easier to think of what's in it for them, for somebody else. I don't give a shit if I sign somebody's record. It's their record. It's meaningful to them. Great. Now, why would I be selfish and say no? I'm not going to sign your record. It's like I'll never see that record again, and that's why I always say, "Can I make it to somebody?" It's not. I don't give a shit if they sell it on eBay. Everybody's got to make $1. What the hell?
Yeah.
If they were forging my signature, that might be a little different. But it's like, can I make it to somebody? Because I'm never going to see that again.
Yeah.
So I try to be a little philosophical in that way. These donuts are excellent, by the way.
They are good. I would.
And
Yeah.
one more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go back to your youth. You're 11, 12, 11, growing up. You're in Baltimore at that age.
Yep.
British invasion, 64. Yep. Was that, do you remember the Beatles? Was that a thing for you? And when they were on Ed Sullivan, you were sitting in front of the TV watching that?
Oh, yeah.
Was that? It
was like anybody else. It was like, holy shit. People are losing their damn minds. And the songs are real catchy and everything like that.
At that time, at 11, are you playing any instruments yet?
There was a piano in the house. My dad played piano, like classical stuff. And I give him and my mom a lot of credit for my musical, just like being able to sing on key and in pitch. And because my mom sang, she like in college, she sang opera, and she would screw around and sing some crazy stuff once in a while. But it was not like an arty home, because my dad was just a librarian, my mom was a school teacher. And
blue collar town, like the area of?
No, it was sort of suburbs.
Okay.
Even though it was only about a mile from the city line.
Right.
But yeah, it was a weird time. I mean, they would, yeah, in the 60s. We moved there, and I think, probably 61, maybe.
Okay.
Something like that. I was in 3rd grade. I'm trying to think, how old what year would it be? Yeah, like 61. Yep.
Okay.
I was born in 53, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
I like the Animals best.
Okay.
My very first record that I bought was For Your Love by the Yardbirds.
Okay.
And I rode home on my bike.
Just like you did here today.
Yeah.
Well, you rode here, not rode home.
Right.
But you will be riding.
From my home.
Yeah, yeah.
And I fell over, and the 45 cracked.
Oh.
Before I even played it. But
you had heard the song prior.
Oh, yeah. It was on the radio.
Right.
And so I just went, and it went back together, and there was a little, as it went by, but it played fine.
Oh.
So, 45 technology.
Damn, I wish I brought my glasses.
And then in 5th grade,
there we go.
One of my second performance, my first performance was in 2nd grade at the talent show. And I auditioned for the talent show by singing a song from South Pacific, which I can't remember which one it was.
Okay.
And so I was said, okay, you can be in the talent show. And then they paired me up with another a young girl who I think was in my class. I can't remember her name. And we sang I Love You, a Bushel and a Peck. I think from Oklahoma. I love you, a bushel and a peck, and a hug. I believe.
The only musical I'm familiar with is Seven Brides for Seven Sisters, which I absolutely love.
7 Brides for 7 Sisters. That's a very
Wait, seven.
that's a very forward thinking.
That's a wrong. Yeah, that's not the. I'm wrong.
For
in
7
that
Brothers.
7 Brides for 7 Brothers. Thank you.
I don't know that one.
Yeah.
But anyway, my parents had musicals, so that was my first one, and then the second one, I played. A friend of mine and I, David Wolf, and I played House of the Rising Sun.
Oh.
By the Animals, and we went around to like all the 5th grade classrooms and sang it.
Really? So multiple performances.
Yeah, it's like 3.
Wow.
Yeah, I think there were 4. There was like the A class, the B class, the D class, and then the C class.
Right.
But, yeah.
So eventually,
Yes.
at some point, while still living in Baltimore, you decide to go to New York City with some buddies, and you see the Heartbreakers, and I have it written here, and I can't see it. It was.
My parents lived in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay. So you were.
My dad had worked his way up the library scale to where he was the director of public libraries in Brooklyn.
All right.
Which is kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
There were like 50-some libraries. And I was very proud of him for that. And I got to stay in New York in 1975 for free. So I'd drive up there and visit him, and then I could go to Max's Kansas City, and I could go to CBGB's and things like that.
Was there a preference between the two, or were they both basically the same to you? Or
Oh, Max's was much nicer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, CB's was just a like dive biker bar.
Right.
But it was awesome. I saw Talking Heads at CB's, and I saw the Heartbreakers at Max's Kansas City.
So you were already drawn to that subculture, or
Yes.
yeah.
I lived in Baltimore.
What does that mean? Is that
Well, I knew John Waters a little bit.
okay?
His actors like Mary Vivian Pierce and Mink Stoll and Divine once in a while, but I saw Divine at a couple of parties. And like in 74 was when Female Trouble came out.
Okay.
And there were some showings of Multiple Maniacs and Mondo Trasho and Pink Flamingos, and they were a big deal. I mean, John was the biggest celebrity in Baltimore, except for maybe the mayor.
Well,
Marvin Mandel, who was a complete like circus clown. He jumped in the dolphin tank when the when the aquarium opened up. It was like in a suit. You know, he's just all Maryland politicians are shysters, and I think H.L. Mencken said to say a Maryland politician is corrupt is redundant because politician in Maryland imply corrupt. So I was a bohemian in training, so to speak.
okay.
And I had listened to a lot of David Bowie and the Velvet Underground, even from the first record, the White Heat, and so I was well on my way playing music and stuff like that. We did originals, and they were terrible, but we played
you're in a band with
sort
buddies, like at least jamming together, and
yes. Oh yeah. No, we played out. We actually played in a bar called Bertha's, which was famous for its mussels. So there are a lot of bumper stickers that says "Eat Bertha's mussels."
Oh.
And that was a place that John.
I thought you meant like our mussels.
No, like clams.
Yes.
And but it said "Eat Bertha's mussels," and it was up to you whether you wanted to think of it. Anyway, so John would come down there as we were setting up on occasion, having a happy hour cocktail, and I sat next to him like we are right now and said, "Hi," and he said, "Oh, hi," because he's very personable and he likes people that have a brain. I ask him what I think we asked each other what we were reading, and I said I was reading Tennessee Williams, and that was like, okay, so far so good.
Yeah.
So I was a bohemian in training, and I had Patti Smith's record. I didn't have any Stooges. I didn't have any MC5, so I'm not that cool. But
were they even on your radar? Was that
no?
Okay, yeah. So,
I didn't find out about them or Jonathan Richman and
right.
the Modern Lovers, which were hugely influential in LA
Okay.
in 76 or 77.
And that's when you finally got out to.
Yeah. I went to school at Antioch College, which had a branch in Baltimore. I had quit. I went to one year of college in D.C., quit, put up aluminum siding and roofing and stuff like that for a couple of years.
How was that? Hard work?
How do you think?
Probably hard.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
Not as bad as putting up chain link fence in downtown Baltimore.
What?
In the middle of summer. Although I did put on a tar roof. It was part of putting on a tar roof in the middle of summer.
Right. So that's mopping tar, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't sound fun.
No.
I would imagine tar gets everywhere.
Bad hangover too.
From the fumes.
Yeah.
That's not good.
No, I had a hangover first, and then I had to breathe the. But it was not like a full, row house kind of thing. It was just a little area,
but nonetheless,
it was still horrible.
It's hard. Yeah, I can't imagine that would be fun.
And
it's hot.
And then I went back to school because there was a writing program. There was also a theater in Baltimore, and I think probably 72, 73, maybe it was even longer. It was sort of an experimental theater called the Theater Project. And this guy, Philip Arnaud, also taught at the Maryland Institute of Art, I think. I'm not sure. One of my friends went there, and so I was like, the thing is, in the early 70s, early to mid 70s in Baltimore, had a lot of artists. There was a big artist community. There were a couple of bars that people went to. There was this whole area, Fells Point, that was really cool, right down by the water. And you couldn't put on airs because you couldn't really be famous in Baltimore unless you went to New York. There was a really great college there, that Maryland Institute of the Art, whatever they call it. We just called it the Institute. That was on the same par as RISD and there was a big music college there called Peabody, and but it was just all like you couldn't do anything. You just like hung around and talked ideas and learned shit. And
what was your beer of choice? And was it National Bohemian? Or
well, then Natty Bo was pretty good at that point, but I don't know. I don't remember.
Okay. Yeah, someone brought me back a couple cans. I've never had it, but you can't find it here, or it's only really served out there. So someone brought me back a couple cans. I
think it's been sold. I don't think it's as good as it used to be.
Oh,
but I don't know.
Right. Well, I enjoyed the cans that I had. I thought I'm a kind of a cheap beer drinker.
It's a Pilsner sort of thing, a little bit better.
So you moved to LA. You meet your fellow band members next.
I met Exene at a poetry workshop within like 6 weeks.
That's pretty quick.
Moving there.
Yeah.
But I had run a poetry reading series in that same building where the theater project was. It was called the Poetry Project. DC had a really rockin' poetry scene, and it was all about performance. The poems were funny, they were like relatable. It wasn't this airy fairy kind of poetry. It was very street, very funny. That was also part of like the gay revolution and stuff like that. So it was great.
Are you still writing poetry, or is it just a poetry? Okay.
Yeah. Actually, during lockdown, I do a Zoom call once a month with some of the same people. One of my teachers.
That's amazing.
Grace Cavallari. She's 90, and she's smarter than maybe everybody in this whole town.
That's amazing too, for a 90-year-old to be able to use Zoom.
She's amazing.
Yeah, that's tremendous.
Yeah, I do. So you have to come up with a poem once a month.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And there's no rules for poetry. You could kind of, as long as it flows. Is that kind of how it works?
There's no rules as long as it doesn't suck. As long as it's not trite or even if it's just dumb, if it still has a particular point of view or observation, or no matter what it does, as long as it's not just stolen
Oh,
and lame, or just trying to do something. If it's inauthentic,
right, right.
then it's. But as far as punctuation or capitalization,
Right.
you can do whatever the hell you want. I mean, E. Cummings and even Walt Whitman kind of
The
blew that whole thing
I
up.
think that's the
So-
only poet I know from
E.
yeah, like English, and because of the no punctuation. And right. So,
Well, there's plenty more.
okay.
Check out Diane Wachowski or Sylvia Plath.
I've heard of her.
Or
So you eventually go. You form a band. You release a single. You go to New York to tour of 3 shows. You play Max's, you play CB's, and you play Studio 54.
no,
I thought, where did I read that?
it was called Studio 57.
Oh, it was next door.
I don't know. Across the street, I suppose.
Oh,
Or maybe they just, Studio 54 had a great name, so they thought they would call their club. It was kind of like a traveling, like this room is going to be called Studio 57.
it didn't make sense to me because I was like, it's a disco. How would X play a disco, especially at the height of the disco scene with all the cocaine and the disco going on? I can't see. So, okay, I had bad information, or it was a number off.
Understandable.
All right.
But that was quite a trip. We drove from LA to New York City because Exine's sister, Muriel, who was very involved in the kind of no wave with Ardo Lindsay, DNA, and Lydia Lunch with Teenage Jesus and the Jerks, and who else? James White.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, or I can't remember.
James Chance. Yeah.
Well, he was James White, and then he was
Okay.
James Chance, but he was a big part of it. All those guys, so she could get us a booking. And we had just put out, in 78, we had put out adult books with We're Desperate on the backside. And we drove like 3,000 miles to play 3 gigs.
There was no show in between, like any shows in between the front.
I mean, maybe
LA
there
and New York.
was. Maybe there was a place to play, but we didn't know what it was.
Right. Why would you?
It was
Back then, how could
1978.
you have?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was left to the later generation from the Black Flag
Yeah.
label
Who?
and the Minutemen and all those. What's the label? It's
SST?
SST.
Yeah.
They were willing to sleep on anybody's floor, and we weren't.
I can't imagine it. So when you guys built the custom bread truck,
That was Billy. We bought a bread truck and we cut out holes for windows and put in a second gas tank and changed the differential on the back end of the back wheels. And Billy did all that. We also built a kind of a bed couch so we could put the gear underneath, and it was custom.
so bread truck, sort of like a Federal Express, FedEx truck, similar size. Do you miss anything about touring in that?
No. It was louder than hell. The inside we put on some kind of nice, some nice plywood and stained it and stuff, so it looked nice. It looked kind of like an old Airstream or something, but it was louder than hell.
Even though you don't say you missed, I mean, you said like adamantly, like, no, you don't miss anything, but there has to be some good times that you had, like a lot of fun, just doing what you guys were doing.
I can be nostalgic,
right?
But I'm I'm
realistic
honest.
in that.
Yeah. Do I miss touring because now we tour in Sprinters. We have 2 Sprinters, and
What's a Sprinter?
it's like the same thing.
Okay.
Except nicer.
Not homemade as much.
No.
Okay.
Not at all homemade.
Not custom cutout windows.
But I do kind of miss touring in a bus because that's very fancy and comfortable, but it's also very expensive. And we would all rather put the money in our pocket rather than rent a bus for, I don't know what it is, like more than 10 grand a week.
That's expensive.
Yeah.
Do you have a lot of memorabilia?
Mm-hmm.
Flyers?
Mm-hmm.
Do you, if we had a show and tell, would you be able to like tell me a few things that you have, like a bunch of lyrics, songbooks, tickets, old tickets, flyers? Did you collect things a lot?
No, I would just put things in an envelope or a box, and eventually I'll have an archive somewhere.
All right.
Hopefully, I'll sell it to some university.
Right.
I mean, I have clothes and I have the X-Lax X, which is featured in that movie, The Unheard Music. Since my parents lived in Brooklyn, the home of X-Lax was in Brooklyn.
Okay.
And it was the building was a tan, and the letters that spelled out X-Lax, home of the chocolate laxative, in letters that are like 3 feet, 2.5 feet tall, which are brown enamel. I thought that was bold, since it's X-Lax.
So,
what other color would you use? Really?
I guess not. Yeah, right.
And I was walking by it, and they were going to destroy the building, and they were taking some sort of a torch and cutting down the letters. And I asked the guy if I could have it. And he goes, "Yeah, come back in about 30 minutes, and we'll have it down by then." They hadn't. And I said, "Hey, can I get that X?" He goes, "Oh, yeah." And he goes, "Hey, Tony, give this kid that X, be careful taking it down." And he goes like, zzz, crash to the ground. But it survived. Yeah. And yeah.
So you got that. Do you have the mesh shirt that you had?
I do.
You still have that?
I do.
Yeah.
It was in the Grammy Museum. We had a
really?
X exhibit at the Grammy Museum.
Yeah, the one you wore in Decline of the Western Civilization.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know, a questionable fashion choice, but I had,
you wore it well. You
slim.
look good.
I was slim.
You still are.
Ish.
Yeah. Well,
I don't care.
Okay.
I mean, I do. I'm eating donuts, for Christ's sake.
Right. Yeah. You're doing all right for yourself.
So you're doing all the talking, so I just get to eat.
No, that's fine.
But, yeah, I have that. No, so sooner or later, and I have a lot of letters, and I don't have many ticket stubs because I didn't have to buy a ticket to get in.
True. Right. What about some of your favorite bands that you played with that were on the same bill? That any come to mind?
Well, actually, I just saw. I'm going through some of this stuff, and I saw Gogo's set list that I pulled off the stage. It still has gaffer's tape on it, so it was kind of folded over.
So
and I said they opened for us several times, and I said to my wife, I said, "Oh, I should send this to Kathy because she's a pretty good pal." She goes, "No, don't send it to Kathy. Keep it for your archive, you dumbass." And I was like, "All right."
Yeah.
Okay. The replacements were certainly a highlight. We had to go out there and be good because at the time we played with them, which was probably 83, 84, they really believed they could be the best band in the world, and oftentimes they were.
I've heard two things. Either they could be the best band in the world on a show, or it would be an utter train wreck.
That was
you didn't
later.
know what you were getting.
That was later.
Okay.
They always were rebellious and had this shoot yourself in the foot, self-destructive kind of thing, because if you were too serious, then you weren't cool. If you just if you were taking the piss out of yourself at the same time, then you were kind of protecting. It's like a different version of the 90s irony, where you could be ironic about something, and then you had a little wink to the audience or to your fans.
Right.
Like, I'm not really serious about this shit. And it's like, of course you are. You should be.
Yes.
But the replacements were great. And it was a little later on that they got a little less reliable.
Okay.
Shall we say.
All right.
But they knew that.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a cassette that was out called "The Shit Hits the Fans."
Yes. Which I believe was recorded. They found a tape recorder playing up in the balcony, or maybe the sound guy did or something. And they were like, "Hey, this sounds pretty good. Let's put this out." I don't think it was officially, like, it wasn't planned on being recorded.
Yeah.
I don't believe.
They did a version. There was a point at which they would try to do cover songs, which they knew about a third of, and they would get like a third of the way through it, and then they just stop, or they would fall apart, and then they try to do something else, and that would fall apart. And within one of those medleys, they did the New World, which we had when we toured with them. We were playing the New World, and it's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was really fun. I got to open for them when they did that reunion tour.
Oh, did you really?
That was cool, yeah.
Oh.
Couple shows like LA and San Francisco.
Did you guys get to talk about the old days at all? Or
Yeah, a little bit.
yeah.
I mean, I'm still pretty good friends with Tommy.
Okay. Yeah, I think
And,
he comes to town, or he was just here not too long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're still getting out and about. I saw you at John Langford show once. Like, you still go out and do things.
Sure.
Yeah. If we play some word association.
Oh, lightning round?
Yeah, maybe.
The donut lightning. This is the donut hole round.
Yes.
You just pop a donut hole in your mouth.
Yeah, you just
And
can
then
say
you
a
have to answer as many as...
few words about damn flies.
I don't
Keeping
like
me up
flies
again.
necessarily.
Yeah. Ray Manzarek produced the
Mentor.
yeah.
Talk the talk, walk the walk. Was sort of mystical in his own way, and he was a big deal to me,
Right.
Like, to me and Exene, and or Exene and I.
So the first time he walks in, are you like
Shitting my
starstruck?
pants?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, of course I was.
Yeah.
Raymond's there was a rock star.
Right.
I mean, but not in the shitty way. He was like a real, honest to goodness. And I was a huge Doors fan. As a youngster. Yeah.
So, yes.
And I don't actually remember the first time we met. I do remember it was at the Whiskey, and he had come to see Levi and the Rock Cats, and we opened for Levi and the Rock Cats. And Dorothy, his wife, because we were already playing Soul Kitchen, she goes, "Oh, Ray, they're playing your song," and he goes, "What?" It was so much faster and so different.
Did I know that was their song? I don't know if I knew that was their song.
Well, you have a fun thing to listen to.
Yeah, I don't have a big Back Doors catalog. Not Back Doors, but Back Doors.
It was on the, I believe it was on their first or second record.
Yeah. Oh,
It's a great song.
oh. Well, yeah. I think you guys do a great version of it, which I didn't know.
Well, we made it our own, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And but Ray's he was a great person. I still miss him now and then.
Okay.
But he's around somewhere.
D. Boon.
D. Boon. Incredible energy, incredible, like, righteous player and thinker and doer and funny.
Yeah.
Like, happy. Generally a happy, good person. Yeah.
Did you tour with the Minutemen at all?
No, we played with them several times.
Okay.
But we didn't tour with them. They were off on the SST tours.
Okay.
Playing, and Mike Watt, God bless him, he'll still play like 50 shows in 50 days.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, like, Mike, what the fuck are you doing? You don't have to prove anything to anybody. And I know that he's, we jam a Kano. It's like, if you're not playing one night, then you're spending money. You're not making money.
They live by that credo.
Yes.
You guys X has this summer, 2 months, 24 shows or something. That's kind of going to be grinding in a way, I think.
We're doing about 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off.
Okay.
Like Willie Nelson.
Is that what he does?
Yeah. All
right. I didn't know.
Yeah, my friend Kevin Smith, who I played with, made a record with, he plays bass for Willie, and it's
all right.
2 weeks on, 2 weeks off.
That's good.
It's a little, yeah. He travels nicer than we do.
Yeah.
And he deserves it, because Willie's the king.
Who else do I have here? Black Flag. Did you see both versions, or like, I know there's multiple, but
I saw all the versions.
Versus
Yeah.
So how was the Keith Morris version? And then we'll talk about the Henry Rollins version, maybe.
I only saw Black Flag with Rollins once
Okay.
in Denver, and it was when Henry had grown his hair real long.
Yeah.
And they were basically saying, fuck you, when they made that, it's called My War,
Yeah.
where they have all the really sludgy, slow, like
that's it.
7-minute songs
Right.
and shit. So, I can't really say. But,
Okay.
I mean, Henry's a great pal of mine. And,
All right.
and he's just as intense now as he was then, which is miraculous and inspiring. And
I think
he's
he's softened a little bit.
It's just, he may not be as strident, but he's incredibly smart and incredibly righteous, and I love Henry.
Okay.
But yeah, with Keith, it was a little bit. I mean, there was a period where Ron Reyes was in the band singing, and then Des Cadenza, and I saw all that, and it was a little bit like, okay, here's AC/DC with Bon Scott, and then there's a bunch of other AC/DCs.
Right.
The other guy, the second guy, Brian
Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, nothing
his
against
voice
Brian
was
Johnson.
no.
Bon Scott.
You can say something against Brian Johnson. He doesn't give a shit.
I don't
If
think
he does,
he's not going to be watching this.
he won't be watching it, and he won't
come
give a
on.
shit because he's got so much money.
Yeah.
He'll say, "What did that guy know?"
There's I saw some Instagram videos of Bon Scott prior to AC/DC, of him performing on some Australian TV show. They were pretty amazing. It wasn't like AC/DC sound. It was like a top 40, 1973 top 40 thing.
Did he still go like, wow?
No, he was not doing
Really?
that. Yeah.
Oh,
if I find it, I will send it to you.
Sure.
Jane Wiedlin.
I almost dated Jane Wiedlin.
Okay.
Just didn't because I was with Exene. Well, Exene and I were undecided for a minute. She was. Let me say this. She was undecided. I was convinced it was going to be great. She was undecided. Jane is incredibly righteous. She's a great songwriter, funny and really sarcastic. Doesn't take shit from anybody. She and Margot were the first people that I knew that had dyed hair. Some biker said, "You guys look like Easter eggs." They took that as a compliment, as they should have. Yeah, Jane's awesome.
Bo Diddley? I know because I asked him because there's a picture of you, Bo, in the book.
Bo Diddley may be my favorite rock and roller.
Oh, really?
It'd be between like him and Jerry Lee.
Another time where you were starstruck? Or
I was, yeah. It was more. I was just pinching myself. I wasn't.
Really?
I wasn't. Speechless. But we had seen. There was a place called the Music Machine in West LA, and everybody loved Bo Diddley. All of our friends loved his music, and we heard Bo Diddley's going to be at the Music Machine. Oh my God! So we all went down there, and his backing band were part of the Blues Society, which in LA at the time, no offense really, but I am, a lot of shade here, but they were kind of like dentists. They could play the blues, quote, they could play the blues, but they were all white guys and they sucked. And they were Bo's backup band. And we just thought, this is a travesty. This shall not stand.
Right.
So we talked to the booker, Betty, can't remember her last name. I said, please, just tell Bo Diddley to come back. Please, beg him to come back, offer him more money. Because there weren't that many people either. Because everybody kind of thought, like, no, it can't be like Bo Diddley. And the Blasters and X, Dave Alvin, Guilty, who was in Top Jimmy, the Rhythm Pigs, and Bill Bateman and DJ and Phil and I can't remember who else. I don't think Billy played on it, Billy Zoom. But anyway, we were his backing band.
Oh.
And Johnny Baz from the Blasters also played bass. So and DJ played maracas the whole time. So Take It to Jerome, which is like part of the signature of Diddley, the maracas. So we had that too.
As a musician, do you guys rehearse prior, or do you guys just kind of?
Oh yeah, we did.
Okay,
But
I
it
don't
was
know.
we just followed him,
Right.
because a lot of his stuff would be in just one. It would just be one chord.
Oh, so
Just
as
vamp.
long as you play.
Yeah. And we had to convince him that we could do the Bo Diddley beat correctly, because a lot of people do it wrong.
Okay, and obviously
with the maracas. I mean, he was thrilled, and he had a great time, and it was really memorable for all of us. It was that was. But the reason he's one of my favorites is because if you listen to his recordings, it's as if he's making it up as he goes along, and I think some of it is. It's just because some of it's comedy. It's so freewheeling. It's not. I mean, Chuck Berry is incredible because of his poetry and his ability to make a hit song and all that sort of stuff. And Elvis is Elvis, but Bo is just like, it's like rap music. It's just making shit up as he goes, and they just turned on the tape. I mean, there's like, even in his like one of his most famous songs, "Who Do You Love?" I think. He goes to the wrong chord. He goes like a half step down. He goes, nah. Just like, keep it. Fine.
I think I got everything that I've come for. I don't know if I have any other questions. Did you write the lyrics to 4th of July? I know
No, that's all Dave.
Okay.
That's all Dave Alvin's song. Great song.
Yeah.
Here's to 4th of July. One of the saddest songs with an epic chorus.
I do love the song, and I think I was
sad.
talking to Anne, who I interviewed, co-interviewed you with.
Yeah, Miss Buttercup.
Yeah, Miss Buttercup. And we were on my iPod. I think I have like maybe a demo of that was released on a comp album of your guys. I think I like it better. It's a little slower and not as loud or bigger sounding. Yeah. And she likes the other version, so we were having a discussion of which version was better.
Who won?
I did. John, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for taking the time.
Think for the donuts. I think I might have ruined my dinner, but
no, you can't ruin. Donuts are good for dinner.
I was planning to actually have dinner, Chris. I hope you don't mind. Is that okay if I have dinner?
Is this dinner? We still got another dozen to go.
Oh no!
Look at those.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Well, we can leave that here for the staff. And by the way, I want to give a shout out to Shepard Fairey, who gave us these beautiful backdrop. They're all prints on LPs.
Oh,
so he printed on the LP itself. Yes, Shepard Fairey is the man.
And let's give a shout out to where we are. We're at the Long Play.
Long Play Lounge, Austin, Texas, St. John and Lamar. Come on down.
And it's your place.
No, I own about
portion.
It's Will Tanner's place, who owns Hole in the Wall.
Right. Your chair's gone too. What happened to it?
They broke. They all fucking broke.
I know. Nice chair.
Yeah. I had my name on the back of a chair.
Oh, wow.
But I didn't kick anybody out. I didn't like rough them up, like walking in like it was in Roadhouse and just grab by the.
That would have been pretty cool.
No, it would have been horrible.
No, it would have been pretty cool.
No, I don't do that sort of stuff.
Thank you, John. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate you taking the time for this and
sure.
Everything you've done for me.
I lived in Madison as a kid too.
Did you really?
Yep.
You moved around a lot.
Yeah, my dad was kind of ambitious, and he got better jobs and worked his way up. He was really smart.
Was it hard as a kid?
Yeah, a little bit.
Friends.
Sure.
Yeah.
Make friends. I made friends pretty easily.
Oh, that's good.
I mean, I'm not that much different then than I am now, except that I'm smarter.
In high school, where were you in the clique? Middle, ignored, cool kid, bullied?
No, I was not bullied.
You get in a lot of fights?
No.
Okay.
I just kind of slipped through. At first, I was, I swam as a kid. There was no swim teams then. You just had to do a private swim team if you wanted to do that. And so I was sort of fairly athletic. So I played sports up until I discovered marijuana, and then my wrestling coach. My wrestling
you wrestled
coach.
too?
Huh?
You wrestled too?
I did.
What?
Played lacrosse.
Wow, I never knew
because lacrosse was something that there were like 8 schools in all of the world
Right.
that knew what fucking lacrosse was. It was from like Virginia, maybe into Pennsylvania. That's it.
That's it.
There were like 12 colleges that had lacrosse teams. That was all. No. Now there's women's lacrosse on television.
Right.
For God's sake.
Think of the other route you could have taken had you not, if you would have continued with your sports activities.
True. I could have been a dick.
There's still time.
No.
Why give up hope?
I don't think knock on wood, I don't think I'm going to go to jail, which I'm happy that I never got thrown in jail.
Never.
I think no. And just not that I didn't do bad things.
No, right.
But I never got thrown in jail. And so I think I've aged out of that. I think I've aged out of being a dick and aged out of getting thrown in jail, which I'm happy about. That's a good record.
Yeah.
But my wrestling coach, Mr. Gowdy, also introduced me to Albert Camus.
Who's that?
Albert Camus, The Stranger. It's a writer, French writer.
Okay.
One of the
the wrestling coach did.
He did. He was an
Interesting.
English teacher as well.
Oh.
And he allowed us, since we like there were 5 or 6 people in the I think 11th grade English class that expressed a lot of like insight and interest in The Stranger, that book. My mother died today was the first line. Anyway, if you haven't read The Stranger, you're really missing out.
I'm missing
Chris.
out?
You are. Absolutely.
So you recommend this book to me?
Yes.
Okay.
But we expressed so much interest that he said, well, you guys can have a break-off book group and read The Plague, which is another Albert Camus book. It's great.
Albert Camus.
Camus.
Is he
French?
Who's French?
He's very French.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
big time. He's like Sartre and Jean Genet and shit like that.
Yeah.
See?
You're saying things I don't understand.
No, that's okay. See, here's the thing is that
What's
in the getting people hip to new things was the way that you learned about stuff.
right?
So you leaned on your friends, or your friends leaned on you to introduce you to new things. Oh, you haven't heard that band? You're not an idiot. You just haven't heard of them.
Right. No, right.
And when I will mention something that somebody hasn't heard of, then I feel like, oh, this is great. You have an opportunity to discover something that could add another dimension to your life.
And you're recommending it because you're
Absolutely.
excited about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like, I think more the attitude nowadays is a little like, oh, you're stupid, or you're not hip, or you're like, what do you mean? And shame somebody because they don't know something.
I never got that feeling from you.
No, I'm not saying me. I'm
Right.
saying that in general, youngsters, people under, I don't know, people that are just jerks, will have that attitude. Whereas it's like, no, this is great. You don't know about this. Oh, this is cool. Let me get you hip to what's going down, man.
I'll have to check them out.
Yeah, you'll like it.
All right.
Trust me.
Well, since you're vouching for it, now I have to. I usually read books on like bios. I read in comedies, like about comedians and stuff. That's kind of what I stick to.
This isn't that funny.
Well, that's
It's not
like
that
you're
funny.
not selling it to me.
No, it's not that. It's not funny. The Stranger is not funny, but it's cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And it's short, and it's simple words, but the idea of it is very complex.
I will check it out.
And if you read The Stranger, then you will have an idea about existentialism, which is cool.
We'll check them out.
Billie Holiday was an existentialist, although she may not know that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, she definitely doesn't know it now.
Well,
yeah.
She may not have, but she may have. She knew she was, but she may not have known that.
In my travels in the next months, I will check them out.